And thank that lady for her speech. And now call on Michael to open the
For the first time, and I don't know how many, I might actually have a shot in winning a final. Okay. The opposition so far has a problem differing between religion and missionary. It is not the same thing. We are going to answer several questions. Why? A, Israel is already very full of opportunity to get other opinions about what God is and what religion is. Then we're going to talk about the path to the dark side, which isn't starting debating. It is actually how do these people work and how do they bring you inside their system, and the difference between that and normal religious contemplation, specifically talking about doubt. Finally, we're going to talk about this specifically method sucks in the Holy Land and create those mentioned, which first off mentioned in the line, those people who are born again and therefore a lot more extreme and a lot more violence. But first, I have two things to answer. We heard that this is just like ads. I make a store. I want people to come over. Molly, show me the person who will blow himself up for the Coca-Cola company and we have a debate. Until now, there is nothing to show us why these two are similar. Religion deals with so many great big issues, you cannot just come and say that talking about them is no different than selling Tampax. Then there is the death is scary thing. I'm kind of fine. But beyond that, religion, as we said, isn't bad. What missionaries do is give you a doubtless path. A path where you are not supposed to ask questions. That is different from just finding God. And we will discuss that now. Moving on to my construction, which is plentiful. First of all, Israel already is full of opinion. Neil mentioned talking to a priest. I mentioned we actually have the Holy Land with us. There are many ways for you to find other opinions. But, however, you do that in a self-process with yourself where doubt is key, where you ask yourself, no, thank you, where you ask yourself questions on the way, where you say things like, why am I considering believing in this God? Where you actually say, my circular life isn't working for this. We think this is great because a person who reached his conclusion through a path of doubt has doubt in his system as a method, no thank you, and therefore is less likely to do crazy shit, which we will talk about later. Now let's talk about the path to the dark side and how that actually is a way to reach this situation where you are religious, but without the doubt part. We found, E is the fifth letter, 5 different steps on that way. A, there's contact. Normally in a poor or young area, or an area where young people are like IDF soldiers, being impressionable and in need for some sort of salvation. They come up and say something like, hey, would you like to hear about our Jews for Jesus program? Would you like just to read our leaflet? You say yes. Then they offer, if you want to talk to them, moving you to plan B, which is invitation. This invitation normally is a small thing. They offer you to do one sacrament or one mitzvah. Nothing that you're really bothered about. Something like a nice family dinner that everyone likes. You don't even think about that. Or how about just Shomer Shabbos for one weekend, you know, try it, it could be nice. Okay, and you're already there, or just join us for minyan as some people tried to make me do the other day. Okay, then at this point, there's point C, no thank you, there's communication. This is where they become your friends suddenly. They care about you, they're with you. They're sitting and giving you the one-sided view which they have of why that religion is correct. Okay? And on part E, they start becoming your friends, you start doing more and more of them. Part E is when you're already convinced. You're with them, and your friends start saying, Michael, you're going crazy. And they say to you, they don't understand the new path you're on. They're not your real friends. We love you. The whole point of this process, I'll take you in a second, well, I guess only money. I'll take you in a second. Okay? The whole point of this is fast-tracking you to a place where you are religious without doubt and do on a one-way track. This is why born again, and I'll give some Goy examples now and then I'll talk about some other example later, tend to be more extreme because they work basically like cults. Charlie Manson, for example, in the United States, where they less ask questions because they were gone through that contact ABCDE process. Or, for example, Kenja in Australia, which is another example where they let, I'll take you, I swear I'll take you. Okay? With another path, or another person who is pretty extreme in his ways of religion and doesn't ask himself things and thinks that he is not take you in the way I would But finally, I would like to bring another person who thinks he talks to God and who actually took the nation to 2 wars based on that, George W. Bush, born again. Marty.
People that talk to themselves and are introspective could also end up blowing themselves up, as we saw in Columbine. We can't stop them because they're talking to themselves. We can stop missionaries that are doing this.
No, we can, yes, you're absolutely right. I cannot stop someone who has an enlightenment. If suddenly I think Jesus is talking to me, I as the state have nothing to do with that. I cannot stop that. But if I know someone is trying to use a system that creates that, then definitely I have an option to stop that, and there's no reason why I should allow it to happen. Point 3, why does the... Yeah, no.
Okay, basically what you're saying is that we should ban anyone who has an influence and an agenda on anyone, anytime.
No, we are saying we should ban missionaries in Israel, not anyone who has an influence or agenda on any time. I ban that in my rebuttal. This will actually make clear in my third point, why does this specifically suck in the Holy Land? All the religions in the Holy Land that we're talking about, most of them monotheistic, most of them universal in terms that they cancel each other out by doctrine. They can necessarily say, we are correct, the others can be correct. This isn't so much a problem if you reach this conclusion through doubt, but it does become a problem when you reach it without the doubt process, when you're just finding yourself there one day. Now, when you have doubt, especially in the Holy Land, you start looking at these relics we have, the slab that people rub, the wall, and you start seeing, no matter what, because something is in the hand of some infidel of some time at every given moment, you start seeing that you need to do something about this, and you start thinking, how can I do this? And Israel had its load of examples for that. We give you Baruch Natan Zeda, an Israeli soldier who was told about the Holy Land and was given through, who actually went through this missionary work, and this made him reach the great conclusion of let's go up and shoot four soldiers in a bus in Shfar'am because I'm freeing the Holy Land. We give you Baruch Goldstein, an American doctor who came to Israel and said, okay, I am now a born-again Jew, what's better than to the Ma'arat Machpelah, which is, sorry, the tunnel of, you can't, I think, yeah, you can. The tunnel of the Machpelah, which is in Hebron, which is where Abraham and the fathers are buried, and it's a mosque now, and shoot the infidel up. This is the kind of thing they do. And finally, I give you Avigdor Ansky. Avigdor Ansky was arrested a few years ago in Israel, another born-again Russian immigrant from Jew, for wanting to throw a pig with a catapult over the Wailing Wall into Temple Mount. These are things that start war 10